Merry Christmas and welcome to Inside the Mind, where we're joined by a very familiar face, the writer of Secret Santa and host of the Miskatonic Playhouse, TA Newman. How's it going? Good, good. Thank you very much. Lovely to be here. Big fan. Likewise, yeah. Big fan. Thank you for keeping this scenario for us. Fantastic scenario. Joined by wonderful Mike Mason, Father Christmas himself, who did a superb job. Yeah, he was. It's a slightly nerve-wracking prospect having Mike Mason at your table, but he was so lovely. Very welcome player. Really good fun. And yeah, I think we did. I think we had everybody at the table had some fun, myself included. Absolutely. We'll kick off with the questions on the scenario. So, what are you most proud of with the scenario? Okay. I was really glad, really excited to do a themed scenario, because I always think they're fun when they pop up, and it's like, oh, it's Christmas coming up. There's a Christmas scenario. That would be a nice kind of moment in my ongoing campaign, or just within a series of one shots. Let's do a themed one, which is always good fun. But I think the thing I was most proud of, I always try and do something a little bit new for myself with each new scenario, and I know it's difficult in all scenarios to have lots and lots of NPCs. It's always difficult to manage those as keeper and also as a player. You're a bit like, who was who? So I just tried really hard to give the sense of lots of people, lots of characters that the players could interact with. And I'm designing one of the things the characters get to see is the table plan, is the seating plan. So I kind of liked that because it gives the characters an opportunity to go, right, I've actually got something that fits in the narrative, but I've got a list of all of the characters who should be here, so I know who's here to interact with. Really good way of kind of keeping it clear. I thought it was great. Characters really well diverse, really well established. It's not an easy thing to do when you've got a giant party going on, loads of characters, lots of things going on. I think your performance was great.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, you did really well. It's great to have these titles that are like these evergreen titles that kind of have, from a marketing point of view, is kind of a good thing to have, because I know you've got another holiday seasonal one coming up. Yeah, so we've got it's out now. It is Be My Valentine. So it's a Valentine's set scenario. And again, with that, I've tried to do something which has its own thing. With that one, the whole point of it is it starts in a restaurant and there's a speed dating kind of activity. The characters are all going for this speed dating event. So there's a few NPCs. But the way I've tried to introduce a new mechanic with that, similar to trying to have a new thing with Secret Santa, where the characters, through the speed dating questions and activities, they actually get to know the NPCs and themselves in Act 1 of the story. Yeah, fantastic. I wish I thought of that myself. Well, it's a good thing. Yeah, maybe I'll share some ideas with you. Appreciate that. Thank you. We'll talk after this. Yeah. We'll sit down and have a chat. Yeah. So, what would be your advice to future keepers of your scenario? I think future keepers of Secret Santa, my advice would be, obviously it's always going to be have fun, but I think because it's the Christmas theme, have fun with the Christmas theme, have fun with the Christmas vibe, keep the Christmas spirit as much as you can, kind of going through. There's snow outside before certain things happen. There is a jazz band playing in the town hall. And there's a list of songs in the start of the scenario, which are, classic kind of jazz songs at the time. Talk about the atmosphere, really sell the Christmas spirit. People drinking eggnog, dancing to different songs, the Christmas trees up, the lights are there. I think that would be my advice, is really let your investigators enjoy the Christmas theme of the piece. Yeah, brilliant. And you don't have to be drunk on eggnog to be able to play this scenario. I can vouch for that. But it does help. But it helps, yeah. So, is there a Miskatonic repository scenario that you would like to run? Is there a Miskatonic repository scenario I'd like to run? Yeah, there's loads. There's absolutely loads. And I feel in a very privileged position with what we do with the Miskatonic Playhouse, that we get to see loads and loads of them coming in. I think one of them, I think I've got a copy of it here, actually. There's a couple. In fact, I'll name a couple because I've got them
Okay.
here. A couple. There's some that I've already played in, which is fantastic. So I'll just mention 3 quickly. One is the Hammersmith Haunting.
Yeah, great.
Gaslight era. I just really like it, and
Me too.
I know Kat, and it'd be really great to play her scenario. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I think you'll do really well in it.
I think so.
I think you'll do really well in it. You'll probably do better than me.
Well, yeah.
It's a race.
It's okay. It's a race.
Who can either go mad first?
I was going to say die first.
The other one is because a big fan of Cuppy Cup and the team over at Ain't Slade, and I've got a copy of Sorrow and Clay. That was written by Graham Patrick's. Another one I really want to play, and I'm doing my hardest not to actually open these and read them. But the last one was one I read about, so I don't actually know the author of this one like I do the others. This one, I read about it, and it was about a teacher who, with his class in America, they wrote this as a part of their course.
Oh, wow.
And they literally, as their class, it's from Taylor Press University, and they collectively, as a class and as a group, they wrote this scenario.
Fantastic.
And I just love the idea, being a teacher myself, I love the idea that they actually got together and they wrote a scenario as a project. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. I don't think I've seen that before. That's fantastic. Really clever. Yeah, it's called Refractions of Glaston.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. And you are a teacher yourself?
I am.
Yes. Are you tempted to do that with your class? I would be tempted to do it with certain classes. With some of my A-level students, we actually we do there's on a Monday lunchtime we do role-playing games, and sometimes when I've got a scenario coming out, one of the ones I've written, they're very good and they let me play test it with them. And I would say that a bunch of A-level students are a good hardy group to test a scenario and go, sir, I think I'm just going to do this. And you're like, okay, that's a really good test of the scenario, that bizarre thing you've just come up with. So very lucky to have a little play test group there. A break test scenario. So as a shout out, one of your artists is a student of yours, or what used to be a student of yours? Holly is absolutely amazing. So she does this artwork here. So on each one of the and then same there on the back. So on each one of my scenarios, Holly's done the artwork. Holly Chadwick. She's amazing. Wow. She's just an absolute talent, and I think I'm just in a very privileged position as a teacher that when you've got students in that A-level capacity, and to kind of give an opportunity for someone's creativity to take that step, to be published. So Holly's been able to use all of the artwork that she's done for me on my scenarios, and she's been using it in portfolios where she's been creating her own work now, and she's been applying for different courses and things, and she's able to use that to kind of drive her work and say, look, I've got these, someone I know has paid for these pieces of work from me. So it's really good because you feel like you're giving someone a bit of a star as well. And she is a hell of a talent. She is. I mean, you can tell it's beautiful artwork, very professional. It's a lot like the community that we're in the Miskatonic repository, and the Miskatonic Playhouse. Everyone just seems to be developing those skills, really kind of like getting picked up for different trades, swaps, just that community vibe within scenarios. And it's a great way to get yourself seen. Yeah, it's absolutely, and I think, giving anybody the opportunity to creatively to do what they do. I'm writing, Holly's artistry, to give anybody that opportunity to do it and then have it seen. So, Holly, if you're watching this, a big shout out to you. But like, I can remember the first time, especially when the Prisoner's Dilemma went print on demand, and now Secret Santa is print on demand as well, so you can expect to be picking that up this Christmas as well. It was quite a moment, for me, obviously holding your scenario, but then giving it to Holly and saying, Holly, here's your copy. This is your artwork on the cover of this. It was awesome. It was amazing. It was like I don't know. Like she did the work. It was amazing, but it felt like it was involving her in something really, really special at the start of a career. It's a completion. It's a reward that feels real when you touch it. It's really special. So, other than the seasonal, have you got any other seasonal ones planned? What would you like to explore next? Yeah, so I've got a few more seasonal ideas. I've kind of come under this bit of a branch now of this ongoing. So each one of my scenarios is a singular
Yeah.
entity. It is a one shot as it is, but there are also for those of you who've played it, you'll know that there are kind of strands that reach through them all. So if you've played Prisoner's Dilemma, you'll notice that when you play Secret Santa, there's a familiar names, there's a familiar entities, and then as you kind of go into Be My Valentine, you'll really recognize people's names. Each one can be played completely as its standalone, but also if you're playing the wider series, you'll see there's this common thread building. So we are building to something. There is a few more scenarios before we get to that final something. The next one. I'm thinking of doing almost rather than another kind of big scenario, it would be two scenarios in one. So I was thinking of doing a Halloween one that had a bit of a trick or treat. So you had two different scenarios in there. You could do one or the other. And I should probably get on with it, but I've actually got on my shelf up there. I've already got my April's Fool one written. It just needs some editing. Some serious editing.
Well,
yeah, and then we're building up to the kind of the final in the series, and that'll be it. That'll be that kind of series. Then and I'd quite like to kind of box that off as a bit of a short run of one shots that all can be played as a bigger scenario, and then I'm going to try my hand at some other stuff. That's brilliant. Quite a lot to be getting on. Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah, quite a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I could help.
We should
edit. Yeah, we should.
Well, I could be editing if you couldn't.
I mean, I can't wait to read them. Yeah, I'm in. You'll read them as soon as I do.
And thank you for letting me read them as soon as you read them.
So, where do you get your inspiration from? Where do I get my inspiration from?
That's the question.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, obviously, we're all very lucky with access to films and TV series and books and things. But I would say a big part of it for me is where I live. My first scenario, Prisoner's Dilemma, is set in Dartmoor Prison, and I live in the southwest. I live maybe a 20-minute drive to Dartmoor, or Dartmoor Prison, even less to Dartmoor. And I think it's this area. This area is so rich in history. It's so rich in its bizarreness. I'm not a native to the area. My children are, but I'm not. So kind of moving down here, there was like a unique community in a small, tiny village I live in. You see it firsthand. So having created my own fictional town in the southwest on the coast, it's really allowing me to kind of pull from all of the kind of the local bizarreness and just surrounding stories that is down here. And I think then just watching crazy documentaries, horror movies, reading as well. I read a lot of horror. I read a lot of the Arkham series, the newer Arkham series that's been released. And they've been really good, really, really good at just kind of setting tone and mood. I have no doubt at some point I'll watch something or read something and go, that's where I must have got that idea from. But at the minute, I feel like the ideas that I've kind of come up with have been relatively original creations.
That's brilliant. It's great to kind of root a campaign, which you are writing a campaign. It kind of spreads out, but to write it in one location, to populated characters, voices, to get that whole line going on as you kind of go through, the location can help.
Yeah, and I think what I'm trying to do is almost as well. Each scenario is almost a new year as well. So you could trim it all down into 1 year and you could just run it as you wanted. But yeah, it feels nice that they're all a bit interconnected. And do you know what actually feels really nice as a writer? That when I'm writing about a certain character who pops up, who might have some nefarious desires, it's quite cool when they get to pop up again. Or it's quite cool when something about them is mentioned again, and one of your players, one of your investigators goes, "Wait a minute, was that thing from the other one?" And you just kind of go,
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it? And they're going, yes, it was, and yes, he is. And it's quite nice, and it feels, I don't know, just feels quite organic, because I've always had the end in sight. In fact, the end actually started as the first of my homebrew games with my friends, and it was that ending that I kind of went, okay, that's really cool, and I love this fictional town. And then have started these kind of smaller stories building up to this bigger story that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it might be quite cool, might be quite nice at some point to put it all together
as a campaign,
as a thing, you know, as a one-off creation.
Well, I think there's definitely a bundle. We don't see campaigns as such.
Yeah, I think so.
On Drive Through RPG.
How many do you need for a bundle?
We'll check on that. I'll check on that.
Well,
you check and I'll check. Yeah. Final question. What advice do you have for the Miskatonic repository community as a whole?
What advice do I have for the
Miskatonic community
as a whole?
I think.
Go on. I think it's just about keep being positive, keep investing in the community, I would say, actually, because the one thing that we are is a community. The one thing that we do is we kind of propagate each other, because what we're doing is we're kind of going, right, well, I've written something. I'd really love you to grab a copy and play it, but I will also, grab a copy and I want to play one of your games. I want to play one of your games. And if it's not too self-serving, I'd say get in touch with the Playhouse.
Yay.
It's kind of what the Playhouse does, is kind of go, okay, you're a writer, you've written this. Let's have a look at it. Let's tell everybody else about it in the community and see what they think. And we've had some amazing people kind of jump through and say, can you run this? Can you do this? And with some of them, we've been really lucky enough to be able to do it as well. So I think my advice to the community would be get in touch with the Playhouse, bring your scenarios in. Because then, you by getting in touch with the Playhouse is then putting stuff out to the entire community. So if you really do want to kind of, reach as many people as possible in terms of, hey, I've written something, I'm really proud of it, check out my work, we're a one-stop shop for you.
Absolutely. It really is just a supportive community. I mean, you're so right. Everybody wants to help. Everyone's welcoming. Very talented people as well. It's just a really perfect place if you're starting to write and just get involved. We've got great people that that work at the Playhouse. Fantastic kind of production team. Great host. There's loads of stuff that kind of goes on at the Playhouse. And I think if people come to us with an idea as well, we'll probably go, let's hear it. Let's hear what your idea is. This is what we can do. Yeah. And they can join us on our Discord channel. They can talk to us, talk to everybody else that's in there. Pretty much, and all the big names you'd expect are on there. They're all fantastic at kind of keeping in touch and staying in there and feeding back. And we're often kind of throwing ideas in there, and someone going, I was thinking about doing this, and then everybody just kind of jumps in and throws their feedback in as well. So it's a really nice community that's actually just kind of evolved, really. Fantastic.
Quite organically, it's kind of evolved to be something that I think quite a lot of the people in the community were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time tonight. It's been fantastic speaking to you. We need to do this more often, you and I.
I think we do. Let's not leave it till next Christmas.
We won't leave it till next Christmas. In the short term, thank you very much to everyone at home. If you'd like to have your scenario played at the Miskatonic Playhouse, send it in, the miskatonicplayhouse@gmail.com, or reach us at www.miskatonicplayhouse.com. TA Newman, lovely to speak to you.
Speak to you soon.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
As we draw the curtain on tonight's performance, we thank you for joining us and look forward to inviting you back to the Miskatonic Playhouse. In the meantime, you can also find us in the links below. And if you'd like to submit your scenario for us to play, email miskatonicplayhouse@gmail.com.